Hey guys, this is Jeff Malone. Tim had to run a kid to the doctor this morning. Nothing serious. He just appointment he had to be at. Thanks for joining us here this morning. I appreciate you guys showing up. Uh, Tim has let me take on the reins here this morning with as the market's gone down. So you guys are probably not going to hear from me again. Thanks, Tim. So now let's get started here. We're going to jump into the wheat. We are off here today. And this is actually just the first day from the highest close we've had. So we're not going to panic here as we get lower here. It's just, I think it's following the corn and bean market. We still have a lot of things that have changed here. And we'll talk about that because here's the report day. And what's changed since the report? I mean, what makes us think it's going to just kill this market? We don't see it. We're still bullish. We still have a bullish tilt to our thinking here. You've got the new Biden administration coming in today. They're talking about more stimulus. You got Yellen out here talking about the market's still going to need a lot more help from the feds. So that means we're going to have to print money. It's going to weaken the dollar. Going to help support things. Russia's come out. They're increasing their export tax on their wheat, trying to stave off a lot of exports out of Russia. China's just sold wheat out of their stocks, and 97% of that was bought at about $10.50 a bushel. So we're not thinking we're just gonna kill this market yet. There is some levels we probably want to watch. The 620 level we're going to be concerned about. We start breaking there, we're going to be down into this 609. We're probably drawing the line in the sand at 585. That's where we're going to be really wanting to probably protect. So if you did happen to hold wheat, it may be a good time to think about dropping any old crop or long positions and maybe looking to go out in the future and re-own it somewhere in these areas. Let's jump over to beans. So here we are in the beans. It looks like we maybe have a short-term top here. We're talking of Brazil maybe having trouble. I mean, they're talking about Brazil running out of beans come late August because of all the forward sales that are already happening. China's already bought wheat for out of the U.S. in the August-September timeframe. So we think there's still some strength in this market. We just may need to pull back. And the reasons are at this top here, you had the CME group. They're increasing margin requirements. So anybody that got in late or continue to leverage up through this may have had to start getting margin calls, and they're having to reposition themselves to get out of some of those margin calls. That's probably leaking over into the corn market as well. So we still think there's legs to this market. We're probably going to look to move out and re-own these bushels into the July. And let's look over to July. As you can see in the July, we still think we're getting a corrective wave here, and we're going to look to re-own those even down into this under $13 range. So there's just the only thing different about the beans is we did take out this over the overnight was the report low, which is interesting, but we're still going to keep an eye on it. We still keep seeing daily sales. The export report sales still look pretty strong. So we're not panicking at this moment. We're not going to probably go out and do any forward sales for the 21 crop yet. But like the wheat, if we're long the old crop or have some futures on, we may want to be thinking about getting out of those and looking to re-own those in the future. Jump into the corn here. This is the March corn contract. We didn't quite get a 13 if some of us talk about that. We'll look out here in the July contract and we'll talk about that in a minute. We did close our gap, which is okay. I mean, corn gaps usually get closed. We're probably drawing a line in the sand at about 480. We probably want to get that protected if we do happen to start breaking those levels. But you've got Chinese corn that's over $11. So we don't know that we're going to see a lot of break in this, but we will probably look to re-own some bushels if it drops into here. Any reversals through here. So we're going to be patient. We're going to just kind of watch it. Again, it may be just like the other crops. We may be wanting to look at getting out of the old crops. And maybe if you want to re-own those later in the future, we'll be sure talking about that later on. Let's flip over to the July. As you can see, we're probably getting just a corrective wave here. We're still looking up at this point. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call and we can walk through your questions with you. We go to talk about this weekly chart here. So we came up here and we're testing 550, and we've got this big gap from 550 to the low of 684 clear back in 2013. So it's going to be, we're going to have some resistance here trying to get through this and get into this gap. So it's understandable that we may take a pause. We may have to back up a little before we take another run at it. And if we break through this, there's a lot of upside here. So we want to be very careful about shorting a market when we could really have a large upside look to this. That's why we think it may be a good time to get out of maybe some old crop if you got some still, and look to re-own it out in the future. And you always wonder what caused this big gap. It's, this is a contract roll pretty much. And if you look out towards September, let's just pull that up here. Oh, wrong chart here. I mean, you've already got corn down at 486 or 468 right now, where your July contract's 415. So you got a 30-cent difference right there, just in a pretty much a contract roll, and December's another 20 cents below that. So that's how those big gaps happen on contract rolls. So we do believe we have some options to try and take advantage of these inverted markets, and we'd love to talk to you about that. Right here, we've got a chart from 2006 or 2005 prices clear up till today. This is kind of an interesting deal here. So these are different phases emotionally that we go through as farmers, traders, everybody goes through. As the prices get up here, you get into this optimism chart, and you get this phase right here. Hey, we're good, everything's going. You get a little pullback, you probably got a little scared, and then we took off. So everybody excited, and then we get clear up here and we're jumping for joy. Corn's lasting forever. The market started to take that away. We got into this denial phase. Hey, it's just a pullback. So we got a little rally. Okay, we're good. And then it just crashed and killed us here. And then you just get into this despair mode. Just think about how these feel. We started rallying again back here in 2010. You get into that optimism phase. Again, you get into really excited. We get into this euphoria phase. Yes, we had this thing was bouncing heavily between 2011 to 13, but it's still great prices. We're good. We're going to have high prices forever. And we get this big drop and we start denying, hey, I think this is the end, and we just start going down. And we had years of barely covering our costs to maybe not covering our costs, and we get in this despair mode over the last few years. And now look at as our chart's coming back up, we're getting more into this, hey, we're covering our costs, we'll be able to farm next year. So we want to make sure we're planning for the future here, and we'd love to talk to you about how to do that, especially if we can jump up here and get into this type of area where it may last a year, maybe two, but we all know as you farmers are great at your jobs, we overproduce these things pretty fast. So we want to make sure we're planning for the future if we get up in here, and how we can do that. We would love to talk to you about that, so please don't hesitate to give us a call. Again, I would be very careful about thinking about shorting this market, as this thing could really turn in a hurry if these funds get these funds get their positions straightened out where they can get back going long again. So again, if you have old crop, you maybe want to start moving some of that, or getting rid of it, and maybe looking to re-own those later in July or May. So that's about all I have for you today. Feel free to give us a call at any time. We're available, and that's all I got. So have a good day and stay safe.